Hi, my name is Troy Hubble from YourDyslexiaExpert.com. I'm wearing a shirt today that talks about Volo's eye clinic. Volo is a character in Baldur's Gate 3, and for those of you who have played Baldur's Gate 3, I'm going to say this in a non-spoilery way in case you haven't. There's a time when he asks to help you with something in your eye, and a wise person will tell him no. So anyways, it's my nerdy shirt for the day. But again, I know you're not here to listen to me nerd out about video games. You want to hear about how to help somebody in your life who has dyslexia learn how to read. So I recently made a video about how to classify sounds. And I talked about how sounds could stop, could continue, how they could be open or blocked, and how they could be voiced or unvoiced. If you haven't seen that, I will go ahead and link that in the comments of this video so that you can see it. But I wanted to talk today about vowel sounds. Vowel sounds are sounds that are open. That means we don't constrict the air coming through our mouth, and voiced. That's what a vowel means. Most of us can say which letters represent the vowel sounds, but when somebody asks us to say why they're vowels, it's kind of hard to answer. That's why. The sounds they make are open and voiced. And again, when we're talking about students with dyslexia, just discriminating between the sounds based upon hearing the sounds can be really tricky. So the more we can give students to help them discriminate between the sounds based upon other cues, like how those sounds are produced in the mouth or how they feel, the more helpful we can be in terms of helping them hear the sounds. Now, I'm going to give a caveat here, and sorry for the goofy pictures. I did not want to run afoul of any copyright laws, so I went on an image website with free use images to search up these different mouth shapes. You'll see a version of this, you'll see versions of this that are very slightly different from this. And particularly with the sound, a lot of people consider the short U sound to be a round sound. That mystifies me a little bit. At least the way that I make it, there's a little bit of a smile there. But just know that accent affects these, as well as a number of other factors, including what sounds are around them. So what we're trying to do is take a concept that's not super pure like sounds and make it as pure and easy as we can. That being said, it's a good way to think about it, and it works most of the time. When we think about vowel sounds, we think about this thing that I call the vowel U. And it starts with vowels that we call smiling vowels or smiling sounds. And we call them that because we smile when we make them. Then we move towards open vowels. Open vowels are vowels where our mouth opens all the way in order to make that sound. I say that sound because there's sort of only one. There's what you'll see. And then finally, we move to what we call round sounds. Round sounds are sounds where we have to increasingly make our mouth opening smaller and more round in order to make those sounds. So, found generic smile picture, generic open mouth picture, and something that's actually pretty darn close to a good round sound picture. Let's look at each of the vowel sounds and where they land in this spectrum. If you can have kids practice this spectrum and feel how their mouth changes, it begins to really help them hear the difference between those vowel sounds, especially those vowel sounds that are very, very, very close together. Another thing that helps is to give each sound a keyword. So a common one is for apple, or for we say apple. And that helps kids hear and notice when they're saying that sound correctly versus when they're mixing it up with another sound that's pretty close. So let's start with our most smiley sounds. This little thing up here, this straight line, is called a macron. You'll see this in any dictionary you open. It indicates a long vowel sound. This little U-y thing up here is called a breve. You'll also see that in dictionaries, and it indicates a short vowel sound. So our most smiley sound is the long sound for E. If you say E and look at your face, you'll notice that you have to make a very large smile in order to say that sound. Up next, we have the short I sound, I. We still have to smile to make it, but not quite as large as we have to smile to make the E. Next up, we have A, E, I, A. Then we've got E, and you'll notice I and E are two of the vowel sounds that people with dyslexia confuse the most. That's because they're very close together, even in terms of the mouth shape to articulate them. So I, A, A. Then we've got I, and then finally So if you watch my mouth, I'll start very smiling and I'll get a little bit less smiley with each of these. Ready? I, A, I, That brings us to our open sound. The reason that the doctor tells you to say ah when they want to say in your mouth is that that is the time when our mouth gets the most open. And there's another sound that you could put here with the open sounds, or you could put here with the round sounds, or you could put kind of in between, and that is aw. This actually was a particularly tricky sound for me because I'm from Denver, and in Denver, we don't really say aw, we just say ah. But these are two different sounds. So when I'm teaching spelling, I always make sure to pronounce this sound as aw. But anyways, here's our two open sounds, ah, aw. We just make our mouth a little bit more round for this one, or again, you could also put that as a round sound for that reason. And then our mouth is going to get more round. U, U. U, the long U sound, is the most round that our mouth gets. So, again, looking at this as a vowel U, E, I, A, I, then to our open sounds, ah, then to our round sounds, aw, U. Practicing this range of articulation with students is one way that we can really help them to differentiate between those vowel sounds, because we give them a way to feel how smiley or how open or how round is your mouth as an extra way to think about the sounds. When you add in a keyword, and all you have to do for a keyword is come up with a word that starts with that sound. I don't want to give too many, I don't want to venture into giving away any keywords from particular programs, but like I said, apple is a very common one. Then we also give them another anchor to hold on to that sound. And so, for example, when I have a student who's struggling to hear the difference between and I can say, does that sound like elephant, or does that sound like itch? I took two different things from two different programs, I'm sorry. So, and from that, usually my student can figure out when they've put the wrong sound and how to fix it. Again, when we teach kids who have dyslexia how to understand and think about and recognize sounds, helping them understand the place of articulation is really important. So, should we teach whole lessons on this? Should we spend a long time on this? No. Two things to understand about phonemic awareness. Phonemic awareness is the ability to recognize and manipulate the individual sounds of English. One is, it doesn't take that long for most kids to be able to do this at the sound level, and just doing it at the sound level is going to move kids much, much, much too slowly without incorporating letters. We don't need to spend that long. The second is, when we incorporate letters, graphemes, with the sounds, it actually reinforces both concepts. It reinforces the letters and it reinforces the sounds. If you want to do a pure phonemic awareness drill, I strongly recommend looking up Dr. David Kilpatrick's drills. There's some debate about whether advanced phonological awareness actually gives a lot of bang for the buck. I would say that that's a question that research hasn't definitively answered, but my personal opinion is it's not going to hurt anything. So there's a perfectly good, and there's some pretty good reasons to think that Dr. Kilpatrick is onto something. So I would say go through his phonemic awareness scope and sequence, but that's neither here nor there. At the same time, I strongly recommend that when you're teaching this, you spend maybe just a little bit of time on it, even as a quick drill. E, a, I, a, o, u, u. And that's it. Move on and start teaching this concept with letters, because when we pair the sounds with letters, that's when we're really getting the most bang for our buck. As always, if you know somebody who is struggling, please, please, please check out my website. Send me a message. I'm here to help. And finally, if you have any other questions about literacy, why is my student doing this and how do I help? Or, why is this word spelled the way that it is? It doesn't make any sense. Shoot me a message, leave me a comment on this YouTube video. I'm more than happy to make a video about those. Also, please click the like button and subscribe button. It helps with visibility so that more people can find information like this about how to help their student with dyslexia. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to you another time. And if you do play Baldur's Gate, just know that you're going to get some pretty interesting and hilarious results if you do let Volo work on your eye. So, back to my shirt. Have a wonderful time. Wonderful rest of your day, whatever time it is for you. Bye.